Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Yolanda. I'm an astrologer, tarot reader and spiritual coach, and today I'm going to talk to you about the full moon in Aries, which occurs on Monday the 6th of October 2025. So I'm going to start with a broad strokes overview of the chart. I'm just going to discuss what the chart looks like, and then I'm going to look at each sign individually. So you will want to listen for your rising sign and also your sun sign. Okay, so let's dive in. Okay, so the full moon in Aries, here is the chart for the lunation, and this is a broad strokes overview of the lunation of this event, which occurs on October the 6th, 2025. Now, so if you look at this chart, you're going to see that the moon is at 14 degrees opposite the sun at 14 degrees in Libra. That's what happens during a full moon. The luminaries are opposite each other. They're both in signs where they are not very powerful, where they're not very happy. So the moon is of cold and wet. That's her nature, her temperament. She's cold and wet. She does not do so well in hot and dry environments, which is what Aries is. It's like traveling through a desert with no water, really, no resources. She's also peregrine, which means in astrology she is like a foreigner traveling through a foreign land, a tourist with no contacts, no friends in this foreign land. So she's not very happy. However, her ruler, because Aries is ruled by Mars, is in a position of strength, because Mars is in Scorpio and Mars is at home in Scorpio. So she's strengthened somewhat by Mars here. She's further strengthened by her conjunction to Alpheratz, which is a fixed star, and this is a very benevolent fixed star associated with personal recognition or success. And it's a lovely star, fixed stars. It's giving off all these vibes of, if you're thinking correctly, if you're remaining positive, if you're filling your head with positive thoughts and just staying focused and centered in yourself, then there is this possibility of success. But I'll go back to Aries later, because I want to discuss Ceres, the asteroid Ceres position here. Ceres is here in the middle, really, between Neptune and the moon. Now back to the sun. So the sun is not very happy in Libra. It's the sign of his fall, because he's exalted in Aries, and in Libra he's in his fall. He is conjunct the fixed star Algorab, also known as the crow. The crow, or Algorab, is of the nature of Mars and Saturn. Those are two malefics, or the two malefics in astrology. So not so great. And if you look at what's happening currently in the world stage out there, I'm not going to get into politics, but you'll see this acting out right now, especially with our leaders, our world leaders. Algorab is quite malevolent, focused on destruction, lying and deceit. So that's about as much as I'm going to say about that. Now, these degrees, this whole lunation is taking place at 14 degrees. This is on the same degree as the lunar eclipse we had on the 7th of September. So if you are feeling depleted, if you're feeling drained, I know I was at that time, well, this explains why, because this is happening at the same degree. But it's also because Venus is conjunct the south node, and Venus is also struggling in Virgo, by the way. She is not happy in Virgo. This is also the sign where she's in her fall, she's struggling, and the sun isn't getting much support from Venus because she doesn't have much to give. She is, however, conjunct the nebula, which is a positive, benevolent fixed star. But again, my feeling here is it's not much of a support. Although if you do have planets at 21, between 20-22 degrees of Virgo, you may be experiencing some sort of good fortune at this time. The same will go if you, same applies, by the way, if you have planets at 13, 14, 15 degrees of Aries, because the moon is conjunct Alpheratz, which is again this very positive fixed star. So if you have planets on those degrees, you may be actually reaping some rewards at this time. But generally speaking, this lunation is unlike other full moons, in where a full moon usually brings fulfillment and rewards, and it's to give you a image to work with. A full moon is like filling your baskets. You're filling your baskets because you've worked hard during the month, and now you're seeing rewards, right? You're reaping the rewards of your hard work. This moon, though, is not like that. The whole general vibe here is one of empty baskets. But again, if you do have planets in those particular degrees, you may be disagreeing with everything I'm saying right now, because of those benevolent, auspicious fixed stars. Right, next thing I want to go talk about here, what I want to touch here is, let's go back to Ceres, which this was very interesting. Ceres is in a wide-ish conjunction to the moon in Aries. And she's making a lot of aspects, by the way, to a whole lot of asteroids. But what I found very interesting is she's between Neptune, which is the imagination, and the moon, which is the body and the public as well. But basically the body and our feelings, our emotions, and Ceres in between. And Ceres is named after the goddess of agriculture, grain, fertility. And Ceres, you may be familiar with the story of Ceres and her daughter Persephone, also known as Demeter and Proserpina, if you're more familiar with the Roman names. But anyway, Ceres was out walking with her daughter one day, with her daughter Persephone, a beautiful daughter. They were out walking in these meadows and these, fields filled with flowers, and Persephone ran off away from her mother for a while to go pick some flowers. And, Ceres wasn't constantly looking at her grown daughter. She was walking along. And her daughter was abducted by Hades, the god of the underworld. She was taken by Hades, and Ceres didn't know this, of course. She turned around and her daughter was gone. And when this happened and she went searching for her daughter, no one could tell her where her daughter was. And while she traveled the world mad with despair and just grief, she had her own descent. She descended into despair and depression, right? She stopped crops from growing, fruits from ripening, and so people began to starve. So Ceres is associated with this whole good mother archetype, the archetype of the good mother, but also because of this, because she allowed people to starve, she is also the bad mother. Now, interestingly enough, this is where I'm seeing this come into play. It's where, because Aries is the head and rules the head and the eyes, how are we starving at this time? Now, you may be starving for attention, you may be starving for recognition, you may be starving for you may be literally starving for affection, right? Love, attention, affection, recognition. And you will want to look at your Aries house, but we'll cover this in the signs as well now. But if you know what your Aries house is, and you will want to look at all those themes to get more insight into this. Interestingly enough, Ceres is in a square aspect to Hygeia here in Cancer. And I always think of Cancer, and I always think of food with Cancer. I think of food with Cancer, right? Those two are linked. They are Cancer and food. Cancerian mothers want to feed their families. And so what's what this means here, what could possibly be coming up, is that you are probably not eating well. You may be purposefully not eating well. You may be starving yourself for approval, for attention, for affection. Or you may not actually be aware that you are not eating well. And one of the things that came up for me is that you may be low on essential nutrients at this time. And one of the symptoms may be headaches or like vision problems. So consider that as well when reflecting on this, when you are reflecting on this entire lunation. So this is coming into being, right? Because the lunation, this full moon, is on Monday. Now, what else do I want to touch on here? Oh yes, we've got a finger of God here, a Yod aspect. And the Yod aspect here is between Neptune in Aries, right? Here's Neptune. So there's Neptune. There's Uranus at 1 degree Gemini. And the Yod is coming into play here. The focal point is Mercury in Scorpio. He's just moved into Scorpio. So what does a Yod do? It's the finger of God that's basically pointing to some sort of fated event, but is also encouraging spiritual growth. And the focal point is like where this growth happens, or where this fated event occurs. And it will occur in your Scorpio house or around Scorpio themes. Now, Mercury in Scorpio is very chthonic. So it may be something fated to do around your ancestry. It may be something to do with the results of an investigation. I also like for example, the fact that Pallas Athena, which is the asteroid of creative intelligence, but also justice and wisdom, is in a aspect to Ceres as well. It might be that you have some sort of legal result or something coming to culminate at this point. There's a culmination, like you may know about a legal situation around this time, around the 6th of October. Okay, so that was the general overview of this lunation on the 6th of October, and now I'd like us to start by looking at Aries. So for the sign of Aries, for you, if you are Aries Sun or Aries Rising. So the full moon in Aries is, of course, impacting your first house. It occurs in your first house. And like I said earlier, if you watch the first part of this video, you got the moon conjunct Alpheratz, which is a very benevolent star, bringing recognition, personal recognition, and success in some endeavor. But then you got Ceres here, and then you got Neptune here in the first houses. I'm going to say this is all to do with your identity and your body. So you may, for example, have you may be succeeding in, for example, losing weight. You may be happier now with your appearance, or these are things that you've been thinking about, all to do with your appearance and the attention you're getting. This is really your focus at this time. The sun is in your 7th house, and so what this tells me is that whatever you are doing right now is motivated by your partner, probably, most likely your romantic partner, but it could also be a business partnership that is making you focus so much on how you look and how you come across. Okay, you've got Mars traveling through Scorpio, still helping you out with getting to the bottom of, and it's really getting to the bottom of things, because you've got Mercury's just entered Scorpio on this day. So This is on the 6th of October. So you are going to get to the bottom of a situation to do around, to do with inheritances, taxes, debt. You might be consolidating your debt, for example, or you might be getting a loan. All of this is all happening for you, and because Mercury is the messenger, you may be receiving good news, right? So if you've applied for a loan, or you've even if you've sold property because you've got Jupiter cruising through your 4th house here, then you're probably going to get a payout at this time, something like that. Definitely to do with your with loans, with banks, with inheritances, and with taxes. Okay, so let's move on. Now it's Taurus rising and Taurus sun. So this lunation is all about your 12th house and your 6th house, but your 12th house primarily. And this tells me that because you've got this bunch of planets, Neptune, Ceres, the moon, Alpheratz, and also Chiron there, this is a time of healing for you, or you are aware that you require help, and you've just either finished up, you've got the help you needed. So for example, you may be coming out of rehab now, or you may be leaving hospital soon, or you may realize that you have to go to rehab, or you need some sort of intervention, or you may need to go to hospital for some small procedure or something like that. Certainly you're going to be confined for a time. You're going to do this because you realize you need that help, right? Again, I encourage you as well to go and listen to not only your rising sign but also your sun sign, because this doesn't mean that if you're Taurus rising, all of you are going to end up in hospital or rehab. No, you also want to go and listen to what your sun sign is and then work with that. The 12th house is also very much about spirituality. So you may be feeling like you need to, you need to turn to a higher source. You need to turn to the creator for help. You need assistance from your spirit guides, the angelic realm. Certainly that's coming up as well here, but also maybe even your ancestors. All right, and the 6th house here with the sun there next to Algorab, it may be that you are feeling that something that has occurred at work has something that occurred at work, because Algorab conjunct the sun is one of deceit and lies. You may feel like you've been stabbed in the back, or somehow ignored or lied to, and so you feel a bit isolated at this time, or alone, and so you're turning to spirit and to source for guidance at this time. That may be what's coming up for you at this time. All right, let's move on to Gemini. So Gemini rising and Gemini sun. So Aries is your 11th house, and your 11th house is all about networks of people, your friends, your groups of people, but also the internet, how you are, the social media, how you're interacting with others online. And yeah, this is very much one where you are feeling like you are starving perhaps for more attention, more eyeballs on your work, and you may not feel like you're getting it. Some of you though, like I said earlier, if you have planets around this degree, 14, 15 degrees of Aries, may actually feel like you are moving ahead online, like on social media, TikTok, whatever. You may be getting more views, you may be getting more comments, more eyeballs on your content, your Substack, whatever that may be that you're doing at this time. So you may be experiencing some good fortune there if you have planets around this degree. Otherwise, generally speaking, Gemini rising might be feeling like you are not getting recognized at this time, that you're not getting the attention you deserve. it definitely has a lot to do with your, the internet, with your online life. That kind of thing is definitely hitting you at this time. You've got Hygeia in the second house, which tells me that your sense of worth and how you feel, your ego is very much tied up with how healthy you feel. The healthier, the better for you. Like if you feel healthy and strong, then you are obviously feeling more equipped and stronger, more able to show up in the world. Again, I'm a little concerned, as I mentioned in the earlier part of this video, that you may be not eating enough or not taking in enough nutrients, so you want to visit that. You've got Venus next to Dinabola in your fourth house. This is where you're going to experience some good fortune. Again, Venus conjunct the South Node is quite depleting, so you may feel that in the home you may be feeling a little drained, depleted by demands from those around you, or that you have to somehow somehow continue doing things you don't want to do to keep others in your home space happy, right? That might be one of the things that you're going through right now. You do have Mars, though, in your sixth house of work, of jobs. So if you're looking for work, this is a good month for you, especially with Mercury entering Scorpio at this time. So if you've been applying for work, please continue to do so. You will definitely get a job this month. Right. So let's move along to Cancer Sun and Cancer Rising. Cancer Sun, Cancer Rising. You've got Jupiter, as you know, cruising through your house now. If you are a Cancer Rising, you may be putting on weight. You may find that you're struggling to lose weight, and you may be putting on weight very easily. This is because Jupiter is cruising through your first house. I want you to, be compassionate with yourself. Show you compassion at this time, because it's quite easy to put on weight. Your waist expands easily with Jupiter in the first house. I have clients with this position, and they're all like, I just look at a cake and I'm putting on weight. Well, yeah, this is Jupiter in Cancer. Okay, so Aries, this lunation is, of course, impacting your Aries house, which is your 10th house of career and reputation. With our ferrets there, your reputation at work could be doing well. You could be getting recognized at work. However, again, as I said earlier, you need to watch for this whole series between Neptune and the Moon, in that you are not thinking in terms of planting and nourishing and planting more goodness and more abundance at work. In other words, you are not giving as much as you possibly could at work, and this is a problem. In other words, you might not be showing up as much as you should be, because you already feel so secure. You've people are patting on your back, but you are like settling in and not feeling like you have to do more than the minimum, which is wrong. This is what I'm trying to say. You should actually be more giving, more generous. You should be planting seeds that will potentially grow over the coming months, and not just settle back and not just like sit back and think, okay, I've done enough. Definitely not. You have to keep working on your career, keep working on your reputation, because even though there may be accolades, even though there may have been a promotion now culminating now around this full moon, it does not mean you should sit back and relax, for sure. It's like this reward, by the way, is coming from people recognizing your skills, for sure, because of this Pallas Athena there in Aquarius in your 8th house, but also in the 8th house, warning you that you have to remain balanced in your approach. Don't just stop giving. You want to be consistent in the workplace, but even perhaps even more generous than you generally are or have been up until now, if this all makes sense. You've got Venus in your third house conjunct in Nebula, which is good communications here, good for communications, but also depleting. You might be finding that your conversations with people right now are draining and demoralizing perhaps, and you possibly not enjoying going over things from the past with others, or the past is somehow coming back for conversation, or things from the past where you have to communicate, repeating your messages, and that's not so pleasant for you right now. Got Mars traveling through your fifth house of creativity. You've got Mercury there as well. You may hear of a pregnancy. If you've been trying for a baby, that's possibly good news at this time. Or you may hear of someone close to you being pregnant. But certainly it's something to do with children, but also to do with your creativity, maybe something artistic that you've created, a painting or a book. Good news coming there, or news around that arrives at this time, okay, about some creative project that you're working on. And if it is a book, let's see what we're seeing here. Yeah, it might be a book. Certainly you're going to be recognized, or you're going to receive good news about this project that you're working on now, all right, because of all this 10th house action there. Okay, let's move on to Leo. So Leo, Aries, Leo rising, Leo sun. Aries is your 9th house, to do with travel, foreign people, higher education. So it may be that you have, got a place in a college or a university, or you're starting a course and you're doing quite well, or you're quite happy at this time there. However, you may also feel like you are, let me just see something here. 4th house, it may be that you are doing a course from home, right? It might be an online course that you have signed up for. It may also be that you're trying to go overseas, or working towards something to do with an overseas trip. And let's see what's that connected to. Okay, let's just see. So yeah, 4th house. Well, certainly you feel that whatever you are trying to achieve here with your course, or with even possibly attending a conference or convention, something like that, has to do with you hoping to increase your income. Okay, hoping to increase your income is a big thing there this month for you, or this is the culmination around, this whole affair culminates around the 6th of October. So this is what you've been working on possibly this last week, right? So let me know. Okay, next, Virgo sun, Virgo rising. Okay, so Virgo, Aries is your 8th house. And this is to do with your, sex, death, inheritances, taxes, loans, all kinds of things there. You may have received a loan. You may have, you may also be working on, you may be attending to therapeutic things, all right, like you may be seeing a psychiatrist or a counselor at this time, or you may yourself be starting out as a counselor or a therapist of some sort. And the reason I'm saying that is because the sun is traveling through your 2nd house here, and a nebula conjunct Venus in your first house. Yeah, I see this as you possibly becoming some sort of counselor, an advisor, certainly to do with the mind, because of this eighth house influence, psychology, counseling, the mind, even possibly investigative work, anything to do with digging deeper into matters, right? That might also be coming through there. Mars in the third house, entering with Scorpio into third house of communication. You're very busy for sure communicating, but also expect messages from your siblings. There's a lot of communication with you and your siblings. And it's deep stuff. Deep stuff, possibly to do with an inheritance, money coming in from something like that, an inheritance, or even a loan. Okay, let me know, leave a comment. Okay, so next sign, Libra. So Libra, this is for Libra Sun and Libra Rising. You've got the Sun there, and Aries is your seventh house. So what's culminating for you around this time of the 6th of October, 6th, 7th of October is matters to do with your romantic partner or your business partner, but also with how others perceive you. You've possibly been thinking a lot about how are others actually seeing you, how are you perceived by others. Again, remember that Aries rules the head, the eyes, and attention seeking and attention wanting, the need for recognition and approval. And so part of you has been wondering about this, or actually doing something about this, like how am I perceived by others, and also how do I want to be perceived by others, right? So this is a big thing going on for you right now. You've got Mars and Mercury traveling through your second house. This is good news for you in terms of income. So if you've been wanting a raise, or you're expecting more money coming in, you're going to get it for sure, or you're about to get it. It culminates now around the 6th. You've got Jupiter, remember, in your 10th house as well at this time, which is very good for your career. So you're wanting more work. If you want more hours at work or something, you're going to get more hours at work. You may get recognized, you may get promoted at work because of Jupiter cruising through there. What else is happening here for you? You got Venus conjunct Nebula in your 12th house. Very good for your spiritual growth. And the spiritual lesson there is to release the past and just to let things from the past go and just to move on. It's like the 12th house also is a house of where it shows we need to make corrections. And for you, it's about moving on from the past and living in the here and now, being very focused on the here and now and where you're moving to, right? Okay. Anything else here? Leave me a comment if this resonated with you. Okay, next. You've got Scorpio Sun and Scorpio rising. So Aries is your 6th house. So this is a lunation all about your job and your health, your fitness, but also your pets. So what's happening here? You've got Ceres here in your house of pets, right? So if your pet has been struggling at this time, it may be because it may be food related, right? So just be careful. Just look at what your pet has been eating. That might be a thing there to be looking out for if you are Scorpio rising, Scorpio sun at this time. But anyway, so what culminates for you at this time, Scorpio, is something to do with your work. And because you've got Mercury moving into your first house here with Mars, and Mars is so strong in Scorpio, expect good news, expect movement, move forward movement. And you've probably already received this good news now already before, well, around this time that you're listening to this or watching this. You've got good news around work, a job that you wanted, a position that you've been seeking. You've got it. This is good news. What else can I tell you? Sun cruising your 12th house. This is not a time for you to be showy and braggy or out there, extroverted. Really, this is a time for you to be more inner focused. Time for you to withdraw more, even though you are probably going to start a new job, or you've got a new job, or you may even be promoted at work. But certainly, it's to do with your job. I mean, I don't know if it's so much a promotion as in getting work. That's going to be the big thing. Getting more work might be promotion. But you've got the 9th house. If you're promoted, it's certainly going to be into a position where you're more of a mentor or a teacher or a guide. So if you're someone who's in education, that this is all going to make sense for you, for sure. And then 11th house with Venus conjunct a nebula there. You may even have to be doing teaching, mentoring online, right? The internet comes into play here. For sure. So let me know if this is ringing true. Leave a comment, hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment. Right, next. So Sagittarius Sun and Sagittarius rising. You've got Aries in the 5th house. So this lunation, this culminates all to do around your 5th house, which is all about children and fun and creativity, and romance. And so what do we have here? We have Mars and Mercury going into your 12th house. It may be that you're keeping some creative project secret, and it's a good idea to do so at this time. You may be working, for example, you may be wanting a child, and you may be doing this secretly. You and your partner may not want others to know about it. This is good. This is good news. Keep it yourself. Keep it a secret. You may be writing a book. You may be painting. You may be doing some sort of craft work, and you want to keep it secret. This is what you want to do at this time. Or you are already currently doing it and you're not talking about it. This is fantastic news. You want to be, if you are in the public eye, you just want to be a little bit careful at this time because of this conjunction Sun Algorab, because the Algorab is a star associated with deceit and lying. So you want to keep yourself to yourself at this time when it comes to important project, things that are really close to your heart, things that really matter to you. You don't want to be talking about them. You don't want to be making them public at this time. Right, and then you've got Venus conjunct a nebula and the South Node in the 10th house. You may be feeling quite exhausted at this time around, in career matters, like possibly you've been trying very hard to accomplish something and not seeing the results that you want to see at this time. Do not worry about that, because what you are working on in secret is going to flourish in the coming months. So stick with that. Do leave a comment, like and subscribe if this resonated with you. Right, Capricorn, Sun or Rising. So Aries is your 4th house. This is all going to be about your home life. Also possibly your father's going to be in the picture. Let's just see. So Mercury's just moved into 11th house of networks of people, groups of people, but also the internet networking, but also blog posting, Substack, that kind of thing. Mars there tells me that you are possibly working on that, right? Maybe starting a blog, starting a Substack, sending messages on social media, or working at, taking on new apps, or working with new apps on your social media accounts. Things like, mini chat, or, maybe you've taken up with chat GTP eventually, or whatever, I don't know. But this is what's happening there. A lot of activity around the internet, social media, blogging, your online presence. And then in your fourth house, you're doing all of this from home. You're trying to make it work from home. And your father may be coming up. His health may not be the best at this time, or you may be concerned about your father at this time. Again, it might be relating to food, or his appearance. He may be looking slimmer than usual, or you're just concerned about something to do with weight, right? So either he's too slim, or he's put on too much weight, or something like that. And you may be concerned about someone that you live with as well, about their health and well-being. Okay, Capricorn, if this resonates, please leave a like and a comment, and do remember to subscribe. Next, we have Aquarius Sun and Aquarius Rising. So Aries is your third house, and so this lunation is all about your communication, how you're communicating with others, especially your siblings, your neighbors, your uncles, your aunts. There's going to be that's culminating in that some conversation that you've had with an aunt or an uncle or your sibling it hasn't been particularly great, because Chiron is there, and so there's been some hurtful conversations. You've been hurt by something, or some old wounds have been reopened, like a scar has been torn open, kind of thing there. That's not particularly great. However, there is this good fortune there, in that whatever's been discussed, whatever's come up for you in this discussion, is actually beneficial to you in the long term. Hopefully that makes sense. It may make sense later on, but that's what's coming up there. You've still got Saturn going through retrograde. Saturn retrograde is very karmic, going through your house of income and money, and how your self-worth. And so you've got karmic stuff to do with money and your self-worth going on at this time. That is possibly where your focus has been. It's all about money, and how you're earning money, and how it's connected to your self-worth and how you see yourself. Positive news though, with Mercury moving into your 10th house and Mars cruising through your 10th house in Scorpio as well. Things are happening for you. People are noticing you. People are seeing you. You are going to, messages are coming in of recognition, of appreciation. So it's good news for your career, and you possibly, by the time you're listening to this, you're recognizing that things are shifting for you. So yeah, let me know if this is resonating with you, Aquarius Rising and Sun. Do leave me a comment, and do like and subscribe. Okay, Pisces, Aries. So this Pisces Sun and Pisces Rising. Pisces, Aries is your second house. So this is all to do with your income and your self-worth. And your self-worth may have taken a hit lately. You may not be feeling particularly attractive or worthy. This is all psychological stuff, because remember, the sun's in the 8th house. This is all to do with your self-perception, how you're seeing yourself. And the fact that Venus is going through Virgo right now, your mindset's going to improve around the 13th of this month, 13th of October. You're just going to start feeling a lot better. It's a tough time for you, Pisces, Sun and Rising, because of this. You've got Chiron cruising through, Chiron conjunct the moon, right? Your feelings right now are very connected to your perception of how you see yourself, and your idea that you're not good enough. And again, it's to do it's to do with your appearance. It really has. You are being over judgmental about how you look or how you feel others perceive you at this time, right? So be aware of that. Okay, what else do we have here? You've got Mars traveling through your ninth house, and Mercury's just entered your ninth house here in Scorpio. So you're actually feeling like you either want to go back to college, take a course, or you may be mentoring other people, you may be teaching at this time, but you may also be wanting to travel. You might be wanting to get away, and if you do, Mercury's literally bringing you the ticket right now and saying go. And if you can get away, this is a good time to go. You may actually be listening to this while you are somewhere else traveling at this time. Okay, so that is your horoscopes. Okay, thank you people for watching and listening to this. I hope that it resonated. Do please leave a comment and do like and subscribe to this channel. It really helps. The YouTubes share and spread the word here. So thank you so much. See you next time.